July 4th, 1992. While millions of Americans were celebrating Independence Day, the state of Arizona was preparing for something completely different. The Grand Canyon, one of America's most famous tourist destinations, had suddenly transformed into a military zone. Helicopters filled the skies, roadblocks appeared on every highway, police dogs searched every trail, and more than 500 heavily armed officers flooded the area. But here's the unbelievable part. They weren't searching for a terrorist organization. They weren't hunting a gang. They were looking for one man. A man so dangerous that officers were warned he could take hostages or open fire at any moment. He wasn't just another criminal. He was a violent bank robber, a kidnapper, a murderer, a fugitive serving 4 life sentences who had somehow escaped one of the most secure prisons in America. But the real nightmare wasn't what he had done. It was what he could do next, because this man knew the mountains. He knew the forests. And somehow, every time police got close, he simply disappeared, as if he had never been there. Soon, officers gave him a name, the Nightmare. If you're new here, I'm Omar, and on this channel, we uncover the world's strangest, darkest, and most unbelievable true stories. So before we begin, remember one thing: don't believe everything you see. Because today's story isn't just about escaping prison, it's about one of the greatest manhunts in American history. Before we continue, you need to understand who Danny Horning really was. Because Danny wasn't an ordinary criminal. He wasn't someone who made one bad decision or committed a single violent crime. Violence was simply part of who he was. Investigators noticed something disturbing. Nearly every victim he left behind showed signs of extreme brutality. It wasn't just about stealing money. It wasn't just about escaping. It was personal. As if every crime was an explosion of uncontrollable rage. And somehow, after committing these horrific acts, Danny could instantly become calm again. That was what terrified investigators the most. One moment, he was smiling. The next, he was capable of unimaginable violence. One robbery perfectly revealed his personality. Danny walked into a small convenience store, calm, relaxed, almost polite. He looked at the cashier and quietly said, "Give me all the money in the register, a pack of cigarettes, some alcohol, and a few more things." The cashier couldn't believe what he was hearing, so he laughed and sarcastically replied, "You're robbing me, and you still want to shop like a customer." That single sentence changed everything. Danny completely lost control. Instead of shooting the cashier, he beat him to death, destroyed the entire store, smashed everything in sight. Then, before leaving, he deliberately set part of the building on fire. All because someone dared to mock him. That wasn't just anger, it was something far darker, something much more dangerous.
Arizona's most dangerous man was hiding in plain sight. Danny Horning served his country in the U.S. military. Survival, tracking, camouflage, combat, skills meant to protect lives became the perfect tools for crime. As the years passed, his name kept appearing in more police reports, more investigations, more court documents. Arizona knew exactly who he was, the state's most dangerous bank robber. He would storm into a bank without hesitation, screaming at employees, ordering them to empty every drawer. But Danny wasn't just there for the money. If he believed for a second something had gone wrong, he became unbelievably violent. He didn't hesitate to take hostages. In one robbery, he forced a bank employee to drive him for miles across the desert before disappearing. Other times, he simply hijacked random cars. Anyone who refused risked being shot on the spot. Eventually, the danger became so extreme that authorities issued an unusual warning. If you ever encounter Danny Horning, do not resist, cooperate, stay alive. Because money can be replaced, lives cannot. Officially, Danny Horning is Arizona's most dangerous bank robber.
What made Danny Horning truly different wasn't just his violence, it was his training. Before becoming one of Arizona's most wanted fugitives, Danny had served in the U.S. military. There, he learned survival, tracking, camouflage, hand-to-hand combat, and most importantly, how to stay alive where everyone else would fail. For most soldiers, those skills are used to protect lives. For Danny, they became the perfect tools for crime. As the years passed, his name began appearing in more police reports, more investigations, and more court documents, until eventually, every officer in Arizona knew exactly who he was. During the 1980s, Danny became one of the state's most dangerous bank robbers. His method never changed. He would storm into a bank without hesitation, ordering employees to empty every cash drawer before anyone could react. But unlike most robbers, Danny wasn't just there for the money. If something went wrong, he became unbelievably violent. He didn't hesitate to shoot. He didn't hesitate to take hostages. And sometimes, those hostages became his escape plan. In one robbery, he forced a bank employee to drive him for miles across Arizona. Only after reaching an isolated road did Danny disappear, stealing the employee's vehicle and vanishing once again. Other times, he hijacked random cars. Anyone who refused risked being shot. Eventually, authorities issued an unusual warning. If you encounter Danny Horning, do not resist. Cooperate. Stay alive. Money could be replaced. Lives could not. Officially, Danny Horning.
Every great escape begins with a plan. Once Danny was transferred out of solitary confinement, he stopped drawing attention to himself. No violent outbursts, no unnecessary fights. Every single day Danny watched, he memorized the guards' schedules. Every shift change, every hallway, every locked door, every security checkpoint. Even the uniforms worn by prison employees. He wasn't wasting time. He was building a blueprint inside his own mind. And then he realized something. He had nothing to lose. He was already serving 4 life sentences. For Danny, the risk was worth it. Then he decided it was time, not to survive prison, but to escape it. The prison he faced was considered one of the most secure facilities in Arizona. 9 separate layers of security. Reinforced concrete, electronic surveillance, motion sensors, hundreds of guards, cameras covering everything. No place to hide. The prison wasn't designed to keep inmates inside. It was designed to make escape impossible. At least for everyone except Danny. The escape was about to begin.